But when it comes to self-worth, I think there are 4 pillars that I want us to have a conversation around for this afternoon. The first one, where you will find that your esteem as an individual, your esteem as a family, your esteem as a community, as a country, and Africa in general. It is built over various layers. You don't just wake up in the morning as Africa, and Africa has good esteem about itself. There's no way the continent can have an esteem about itself when countries don't have good self-esteem, when families or communities or tribes within these environments don't have good self-esteem. Later on, when families don't have good self-esteem, and then finally children who are born into these families don't have self-esteem that is conducive. I'm saying so because in as much as a drug has been found in Madagascar, which is an African country, it will take African leaders lots of money to fly to America and to Europe to look for solutions instead of approaching the Madagascar government right now and begin to have collaborations between Africans and see how we can also begin to face up with this thing. I want to base my conversation this afternoon that it is based on the levels of our esteem as Africans, the levels of our esteem as countries, the levels of our esteem as tribes, ultimately as families and as individuals. To build one's esteem, the first thing that must happen to all of us who are watching me on this program, you need first to start off with your personal identity. You need to know yourself as an African child, as to who are you, where do you come from, what are your roots. You need to know yourself. There's nothing that is as disturbing as being a bastard child, so to speak, where you are just born and you are not connected to anything. You are not connected to any tribe, and no one on the face of the earth can claim to know you or be connected to you. That displaces you quite greatly. And many people who are displaced when it comes to their own identity, they end up growing a very low self-esteem. So understand this. The concept of you, for example, you don't just wake up in the morning and dress up like an African and think that you become an African. It has to do with your identity. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you are made out of? Can you trace your roots? Can you find yourself? No matter how embarrassing those roots are, no matter how crooked those roots are, there is something good that is in those roots, because it is from those roots that you have become what you are. So the first level of developing a personal esteem, a family esteem, a community esteem, a country's esteem, and a continental esteem as Africa, firstly, we need to understand the roots of the African continent. We need to understand the roots of the African tribes and clans, the roots of African families. Then we can find out the roots of individuals who are in these families. And once an individual finds themselves, it is easy to be found in a family. It is easy to fit in a clan. It is easy to fit into a nation. It is easy for us to build Africa as a whole. Right now, our esteem is scattered, because in as much as some of us might feel strong enough about being African, some of you watching me here, you don't even know who you are. You don't even know who you are. You cannot ride on my identity and make it your identity. You need to reach a time where you as an individual, you find your own identity. Where do you find it? Your hand is here. This is you, your fingerprint as a child. Who is your father? Who is your mother? Who gave birth to your two grandfathers, your male one, your female one, your grandmother on your mother's side, your grandfather on your mother's side. These 4 people made the 2 people. The 2 people made the 1 person that you are. That information must be available to all of us, Whether you are a single parent or you are in a mixed family, do not refuse children to have access to their information. Give them that information. If you think that your son does not deserve to know his father, let me tell you right now, you are destroying that boy. One morning he will wake up looking for his father, and everything that you have taught him will fly through the window. So give young people correct information about their parents as to where do they come from. That gives them the first thing that I want us to talk about, which is identity. Can you identify yourself? Do you know who you are? It's not good enough to say I'm Shona. It's not good enough to say I'm Tswana. It's not good enough to say I'm Igbo. It's not good enough to say I'm Kikuyu. It's not good enough to say I'm Heruli. You are Heruli of what? Go further into your tribe. Identify, I am Karanga, the Ka-ra-nga, the people of the light, the people of the sun, the people of knowledge. Karanga. And in the Karanga tribe, I am from the Mwenemtapa dynasty. In the Mwenemtapa dynasty, I am from the house of Soshe. From the house of Soshe, I am the grandson of Pfumojena, who is the son of Muchena, who gives birth to Marara. Marara, who gives birth to Lazarus. Lazarus, who gives birth to Joshua. Joshua, who is the father of Shamizo, the father of Tafara, and it goes that. You need to be able to connect so that your personal identity is clear information as to who are you and where do you come from as an African. So it's not good enough to say I'm Kenyan, I am South Sudan, I am Botswana, I am what. Because these things, by their own settings, they are no longer tribal definitions, but they have become political definitions of the African. And we cannot be known by being a Botswana, because you have Botswana in Botswana, you have Botswana in Lesotho, you have Botswana in South Africa, you have Botswana in Namibia, you have Botswana in Zimbabwe, you have Botswana in Zambia, you have Botswana in Swaziland. How can you say I am Botswana? It means that if I don't have a Botswana passport, then I am not a Botswana, which becomes defeating. The vendors are found in South Africa. The vendors are found in Zimbabwe. Therefore, you cannot say I'm vendor because I'm South African. No, your tribal inclination, your identity is beyond borders. It's beyond borders. The Malawians, the Piris in Malawi, the Piris in Zimbabwe, the Piris in South Africa, the Piris in Zambia, the Piris, they are all monkeys, for crying out loud. And our tribal connections supersedes our political borders. Am I talking to someone out there? Whether you're a Hutu, you're a Tutsi, you're a Kikuyu, you're what, you may just discover that once you begin to think of yourself as a greater African in terms of who are you, who is your tribe, who is your nation, you may find that your borders are beyond the Berlin Conference. They're beyond the political demarcations that we have come to give ourselves. Therefore, even the Americans, the black American, who is out there in the West, who is out there in America, you cannot say I'm an American. You're an American politically, but you're an African traditionally. You're an African by blood. You're an African by culture. You're an African by genes. You are one together with us. Therefore, when you have your identity immediately breaks the political borders. For when you know who you are as an individual, you may just begin to understand how many other people, how many other tribes are attached and connected to you as a greater African. So the first thing you need to do when you are developing your identity is to develop a clear sense of your identity. Who are you as an individual? Who are you as a family? Who are you as a tribe? Who are you as a nation? And who are you finally as an African? And once you reach that climax of being an African, you know for you to be African, therefore you need other tribes that make you African. You need other families that make you a nation. You need individuals that make families, that make a nation, and that make this great image that we now understand to be called African. I'm using that word African, of course, in the common political sense again. Some may want to argue we are not Africans, we are Al-Keblam. Some might say we are Kushites. Some might say we are Kemet. Well, that's a discussion for another day. But for now, I'm happy enough if we can just gather together and say we are Africans. By the time we are all Africans, we can agree. What do we want to call ourselves? That's what they call us. What do we call ourselves? So the first level of personal esteem will become personal identity. And when it comes to personal identity, don't apologize on that one. Don't apologize on that one. Someone was busy trying to pull my leg the other day, telling me that why are you now, you're busy lambasting Western civilization, but here you are speaking in English and everything else. Well, don't worry. I can speak Shona fluently. I can speak Zulu fluently. And if I should start speaking Shona here, I will only remain with 3 or 5 people. but bearing in mind that we have been colonized in our various spaces, and wherever we are, this language becomes a modus operandi so that we can hear each other. Please allow me to speak in English. Ndikatanga kugereketa njikaranga pano ndoita chigume gudi yako wafa masumuliro nemendo ulimo ndinosara ndotaura ndoga ene chizukurubvi chapfumo jena. Then it becomes totally defeating. So we are using this platform of using English so that we can all hear. The first thing you need to do, identify yourself. When you identify yourself as an individual, your family and everything else that goes with it, your cultural, your traditional understanding must be deeply rooted in you appreciating exactly who you are. The second level then of your building self-esteem will what I want to call affirmations. Affirmations. Come on, say it after me. Affirmations. Affirmations. Affirmations are statements that are given to you constantly, that feed into your soul, that feed into your spirit. Things that you must constantly hear. And when you hear them, they evoke other things in you. You see, if you are from the Western world, this kind of thinking may confuse you as to why do we always waste African time saying, enqube esibanda, emoyo edewa, endlovu, masama samanyanga, bana samtimba, fakute, wena faku, dlamini. Why do we waste so much time as Africans when we are greeting each other and we mention lots of other things that are not related to what we are talking about? Maita, shoko, maita, wida miti, chigaramboko, mponango kubaba, ni maja kumagaro, chilera newe wanji, maita, wanamata mga kugara, maita, makumpu mwana mwesendewe shanu, shoko mbereka. And we spend so much time speaking about you as if you are not there, because here is where Africans find their affirmations. I've been to Nigeria a couple of times. They have interesting ways of greeting each other. They greet each other and then they mention other things. Igwe, this. And they mention it. You go to Malawi, the various ways. You go right deep into Africa. We do not address each other as Africans on a first person singular. Your name is Tim. Your name is Tom. Your name is Tim Grange. Your name is Lungile. There's no respect in Lungile calling me Lungile and calling me Victor. Hello, Philip. How are you, Tuli Zulu? There's no need for calling me Tuli Zulu. Call me Saubona Makeba. Oh, Zulu elipe Zulu. Because when you hear these things, they affirm who you are. They reconfirm who you are. So that even in your behavior, if someone should find you doing what is wrong, and they say, how, Makeba, immediately in your spirit, I'm talking to Tuli Zulu has just joined us. Immediately in your spirit, when someone addresses you with your totems, it's a rebuke, it's a reminder, it's a factory default, it's a quick rewind as to, do you remember who you are? Therefore, we need affirmations. And I want to start challenging us here as Africans. Let's stop calling each other by first names. Yes, in Kiswahili, Kamusi. So you speak Swahili. I'll speak Swahili very soon, my brother. Very soon, immediately I come to Swahili, say, habari yako, nini nataka enda. Yeah, nitakuja hapa, nzuri sana, something like that. I'll learn some Swahili very soon. But learn to affirm each other as Africans. Come on, guys. Learn to affirm each other. Stop addressing me like Bishop. Stop telling me, hello, Josh. Stop calling me, hello, Mr. Maponga. No, man, that's not how Africans talk to each other. That's not how you affirm me. You affirm me by saying, Chigaramboko. Chiketeza, chinokubana wana manga, varipedo wanitambanacho. How mukanya, that's how we build each other's affirmations. And on your profiles here, I want to challenge you, please, before you sleep tonight, change your profiles. Yes, change your profiles. We know you as Bra Potable, beautiful Bra Potable. Please, can you write in a way that when I am talking to you, I can affirm you. Put your totems, put your other traditional names, put your clan names, put things like that, because when we mention these things to you, we reaffirm who you are. You can never be affirmed by being called by a white name. Oh, well done, Alex. No, well done, Bratoms. Well done, Vivian. Well done, Vivian. Well done, Vivian. Vivian, it's a name. It cannot affirm you. Find out your roots, my sister dear. What are you, Dia? What are you? Who are you when they call you Vivian? So that when we affirm you, when you want to affirm me, you affirm a monkey. You affirm a monkey. Wanamkanya, those who cause the rain to fall. And when a monkey is moving, when a baboon is moving, he moves with that majesty, with eyes that are very far, eyes of wisdom. The Rafiki, if you watch the Lion King film, and when you begin to say, hey, we affirm each other by using our totemic understanding. So Google around. Some of these things are already available on the internet. Find out what are your totems, find out your tribal names, so that when you are asking, who are you, who am I talking to, introduce me to your tribe. Nyabona wakamsibi bayangena wanamtanga, they are arriving here. We affirm each other. We affirm each other as Africans by using our totems and our family names. That's how we build an esteem of an individual. That's how we build an esteem of a family. That's how we build an esteem of a tribe. That's how we build an esteem of a nation. Finally, that's how you build an esteem of the African continent. And there is no way Africa can be great when nations are not proud of themselves. You have a country like South Africa, for example, still with a white name, South Africa. South Africa. You know, South Africa. And Africans must feel highly esteemed. I am a South African. Wow. Wow. Interesting. Interesting indeed. You build an esteem of a country by building esteems of tribes, building esteems of families, and families build esteems of their own families of individuals by giving them correct identity. Number two, affirmations. Africa is my home. I need to hear you say that. Africa is my proud home. I need you to hear you say that. I need you on your statuses to write stuff proudly African. I will not change to become anything else. You need to affirm it yourself. Because there's no way China, India, America, and Europe will come and tell you that Africa is great when you, the Africans, are busy vandalizing your own country. We need to be positive around our own country, our identity, and by affirmations. How do we also grow good self-esteem? Formal and informal education. The amount of information that you gather to yourself, the amount of knowledge that you gather to yourself begins to give you confidence. Take note, I said formal and informal education. All I'm saying is don't just sit there and know nothing. Come on, guys. Know something about something. Go to town to research. Go to town to find out. So that when others are talking, you can also say, hey, I think on that one, another perspective is this. Another perspective is this. Another perspective is this. But get knowledgeable. Get knowledgeable in cultural stuff, indigenous stuff, technology stuff, but whatever form of education that you may have, that education begins to make you feel confident that you can sit up and say, according to me, this is what it says. And by the way, many people got offended the other day when I woke up in the morning and I said, here is the gospel according to Maponga Joshua. That's blasphemy. You can't talk like that. You can't say the gospel according to yourself. I said, yes, I can. This is the gospel according to how I now understand it. And if you have a problem with it, and God has a problem with it, well, send me back to the manufacturer. But you reach a moment of knowledge where you can say, this I now understand. Whether that understanding is complete or it's partial or it is in progress, I don't claim to know everything, but what I have come now to know and understand, I know and understand, and I can share it with you frankly. And here is my position. What is your position also? So education, formal and informal education, builds your esteem. That's why you see all these professors, when they are walking up stage to go and say something, they walk like they're pulling a mountain on their shoulders, and lots of clearing of their throats. According to, every word is recorded, because apparently they have professed knowledge and they seem to know something that we don't know. So get yourself educated, guys. Get yourself learning. Get yourself studying. I wish someone here who is listening to me can also make me a subject of study. Go back in everything I have written in the past 10, 12 years. All the videos I have done in the past 3 to 4, 5 years. And all the clips that I have put out there. Consolidate all of them together and say, I want to make a proposition here discussing the philosophies of Maponga J in the 21st century. Write something. If you find it exciting to write about Plato, writing about Confucius, writing about Socrates, writing about William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, writing about Frank Einstein, what's wrong with you also writing about Maponga J? No, Maponga J is not a subject well studying, because he is not yet proliferated in the universities of this world. We needed him firstly to have been acknowledged by the Western civilization, and then proliferated and recognized as an institute of learning. Then only after that can we have empirical evidence about the theories that he is propagating to us. Well, you might have to wait for a very long time before I go back to university and get another PhD. I'm not interested. I would rather develop my mind to the best that it can be. So study, learn. When you have information, it gives you some certain amount of self-esteem. How do you build your esteem? How do you build your family's esteem? How do you build your tribe's esteem? How do you build your nation's esteem? How do you build your Africa's esteem? By 1, finding your identity. 2, affirmations. Affirm each other. When someone does what is right, affirm them. When they do what is wrong, please go closer to them, affirm them and uproot it. When someone has done something that is wrong and they are esbanda, you say, how Jamel, how Mafa, how Mhlatonga Hlwali Tambo, how can you do such foolishness? Imagine, you've addressed me with my forefathers and my ancestors, and I have messed up something in my spirit, no matter how stubborn a person can be. When you affirm them to correct them, they always tend to lean on the better side. And thirdly, by education. By education, formal and informal, you are able to finally be able to stand up and say, I know something. And that I know something, I am affirmed that I know something. And I have an identity that I know something. That gives you a nice chair where you can also sit to share some ideas that can develop the African continent and make it a better place. Number 4, how do you develop good self-esteem? You develop good self-esteem by experience and practice. Experience and practice. See, in this world where we are living in, where I've worked, for example, as a bishop and a pastor, not for 5 years, not for 10 years, not for 20 years, but for 33 years. Yeah, 33 years. That is the lifespan of Jesus himself, Yeshua. 33 years working as a minister. Many people, including some theologians and practitioners out there, still call me a young man, which I agree with. I'm not the oldest in the room, but surely I have worked in this space for some time. I pastored in Skombingo, where I was looking after 25 congregations. I pastored in Masingo, where I built 8 brand new congregations from scratch. I went there in Mucheke, there was only one church. I worked, put one church in Masingo Technical College, one church in Masingo Teachers College, one church in Rodini, one church in Mshandike, the other church in Mndondo, and etc. And by the time I finished there, I had actually established 8 new congregations. As I'm speaking to you now, that district has become 3 districts in one. I got some experience. I used to run a crusade, at least 2 to 3 crusades every year. These tent meetings. Hello, everybody. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And preaching. I developed public speaking skills. I developed research skills. I developed community skills. I developed pastoral experience, meeting people day to day, some who are demon possessed, some who are being worried by their own parents, marriage counseling, youth counseling, and everything else. I grew up in that space. I joined the ministry at the age of 16. I was a 16-year-old boy. I didn't even see my teenage years. I was already telling adults what to do from the pulpit, that's the experience that I've gathered. And when you walk up to me and you say, what you're speaking is rubbish, and I look at this young man who is talking to me, he's hardly 21 years old. He's hardly 30 years old. Some of them 35 years old. They have not experienced not a year or 6 months of what I have gone through. And then I write to them back and I said, may the Lord be with you and the Lord bless you. But I would not have time to unwind myself to that era. I was there also. I grew up there. I am where I am today after a couple of years. But your self-esteem grows. And someone was asking me the other day, how do you manage to keep your cool so much when people are swearing and they are cursing at you? I said they are cursing and swearing because, number one, they are not paying for the services that they are receiving. And number two, they don't understand who I am. Number three, I forgive them in advance because I notice it is just childish behavior. One day when they wake up also and they are older, they may just discover that what I was saying was true. And by then, I may no longer be here. And some of them will walk back to my grave a few years later after I am gone, and they will come and apologize and say, Chief, wherever you are, please forgive us. We are sorry. We spoke what we did not know. But experience boosts your esteem. When young boys and girls come to you, when young men come to you and asking you as an old man, and then you scratch your beard and go, well, on that problem there, I think try to do it like this. Because if you do it like that, it may happen like that. And I'm saying so because I had an experience which led me to that understanding. Therefore, my knowledge system is no longer on education only. It's an education that is now married with some certain testimonies that I've come close with. Now I have some experience under my shoulders. And from that experience, you can walk up to me and say, Maponga J, you are talking rubbish. And I will smile at you and say, man, my Lord, thank you very much. If I'm speaking rubbish, can you educate me? Because I'm available to learn on any day. Bring what you know. I'll bring what I know. Let's talk together. There's no need for you to go for my temper in order to get information out of me. If you know something, share the information. Because I'm sharing what I know. What do you lose also by sharing what you know without the necessary need of insulting me? Therefore, you build your own esteem with experience. That's why our forefathers had good experiences. They would go up the mountain and talk to the rain, and it falls, and they come back home. That's experience. They do it again the other year, and it happens again. That's experience. When they use their traditional medicine, and it works, that's experience. When they do, that's experience. And you look into your past, and there's a big bag full of traditional, ancient experience, which the modern educated person thinks it's worth nothing, because they're waiting for experiments to happen in the West. If you want to build your esteem, collect your experience. Marry it with your education, formal and informal. Affirm what you know is true. Place it into your spirit as your identity. This is who I am, my identity. When you address me, please address me as I want to be addressed, as you affirm me to become the best that I can be to you. So Joshua is a colonial name which my grandfather gave me, but my real name is Marara. Maponga, Muchena, Sose. Affirmations. affirmations. If you have children today, stop addressing them with their first names. Address them with their totems. See the bewilderment on their faces. What did you just call me? And look at them and say, I just called you a monkey. Mommy, are you saying I'm a monkey? No, that's your totem. What does that mean? Educate them. Start addressing your children. Build in them the value of who they truly are. Mamuka ere shumba, that's the lion. Mamuka ere mofu. Mamuka ere samanyanga, that is the elephant. Mamuka ere wana nyati, that is the buffalo. Mamuka ere wana humbwe, that is the bird. Mamuka ere wana ngwena, wakadini kumfura ukoko, that is the crocodile. Mamuka ere wana mafu, kumakore ukoko, that is the greater mafu, the clouds. And affirm each other. Affirm each other as individuals. Affirm each other as families. Affirm each other as countries. Affirm each other as an African nation. Ultimately, we are able to build the Africa that we need, because the people that are being called Africans are proud to be called Africans. That is your driver for this afternoon program. Maponga J, broadcasting live from Johannesburg, South Africa, sharing critical information about the great African people, talking African traditions, African science, and African medicine. Today we are discussing the issues of self-worth, self-esteem, building individual self-esteem, building our esteem as families, building tribal esteem, building national esteems, ultimately the African esteem. Identify yourself as an African, educate yourself as an African, affirm yourself as an African, get experience as an African, and be proud of who you are. If ever there is a God somewhere up there in heaven, he never made a mistake when he created you as an African person. I'm an African, Maponga J. I'm signing out. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Until you see you again tomorrow, same time on your afternoon drive, live with Maponga J. I wish you all a wonderful evening. And wherever you are, we're in China, you are in United Emirates, you are in South Africa, call someone by their totems. Start, please. Start affirming each other. Start affirming each other. Stop calling me Bishop. It does not excite me anymore. You'd rather speak words that affirm me. Affirm each other. Affirm your children. And some of you are married. Stop calling your husbands by their first name. Hello, John. Hello, Troy. Hello, Sandile. That has no respect at all. Start calling your husbands. Start calling them by their totems. Affirm each other. Affirm each other. Build each other's identity and each other's esteem. Until you see you again, have yourself a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.